Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. Let's get right to it. This is the third installment of a three-piece expose we did regarding Michael Jackson and Prince. Uh, More to the point, isn't it something that Michael Jackson's name is nowhere in the Epstein files? And to boot, neither is Prince's. Now, let it be said that Michael Jackson was allegedly a pedo, that he had abused, underage children. Again, allegedly, there's been no evidence of this. None has ever come out. And for those who made claims about there being inappropriate behavior um, from Michael towards minors, it's never been proven. One thing is for sure that those who made the claims at the behest of allegedly their parents and authorities, um, one for sure has come forth later. It was later down the years, a decade or so, and said, "Hey, that never happened. It was all a land grab, orchestrated or initiated by my parents, allegedly." Um, Also, the media had played a huge role in its attempt to help whoever dismantle the man, Michael Jackson, as well as the artist, to rip him from limb to limb, to discredit everything he done based on lies. All right. Mike did go through some things as a result of the accusations of the alleged behavior. And to some of us, it seems that he never really or truly fully bounced back from those traumatic, I would label traumatic accusations or allegations leveled against him. Sad, to even, think that someone, especially in terms of music. Music is something special to us, but someone of his caliber in the industry to be accused of that. A lot of us grew up with Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five. Proud to say that some of the best music ever, and that would go double for Prince as well. But Mike was targeted. A lot of us think for reasons that a lot of us haven't come into the know of just yet. This is why this piece is in existence. It is here to serve as an informative springboard or an educational one into the life and times of Michael Jackson, as well as the things he went through later in his life. Um, we have a clip. This clip is courtesy of Sabby Sab, all right? And we like to thank Sabby Sab for the use of this clip, and we are using it under the fair use law. We have disclaimer for that. Before we get into the third installment of this piece, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to All Things Politics. Your viewership and participation is greatly appreciated. So let's get to this clip. This is the third part of the installment of the three-part piece. It's going to open some more doors and shed more light on what is really going on. Actually, it sheds light on what's really going on, not just in the Epstein files, but also in the music industry, as well as the film industry. So here you go, people.
Part here as well. The Macaulay Culkin part again. Michael Jackson apparently rescued children from Epstein. This, along with the song about Palestine, led to his discrediting.
Okay, so that might be what started all this. See, Mike's knowledge, as well as Prince's, go way back in terms of the sordidness, or what Prince and Mike called evil or devilish behavior within that industry. Um, I had no knowledge that they went back that far, and then, even still is the fact that, again, Michael Jackson's name, nor is Prince's name in the Epstein files. But Michael was credited allegedly for saving children from Epstein and whoever Epstein dealt with when it came to, children. Let's get this, because this is crazy.
This is another thing that we have to mention. Michael Jackson wrote a song about Palestine. Of course, they wouldn't allow him to publish that song. But again, that's going against the establishment, going against the grain, right? So they don't like that. This was the first time I had heard that Neverland was really supposed to be a safe place for those children to save them from people like a Jeffrey Epstein.
This is also the first time I've heard that. I've never heard that before. Also, there's a thought she mentioned he had written a song about Palestine or Palestine and was not given the okay to drop that song or produce it so that the masses could hear it. I wonder if that song exists. And if anyone who's checking this piece out, have knowledge of that song's publishing somewhere, please put it in the comments. I'd like to go check that song out and maybe do a piece on it.
Listen to this.
I'll never forget that. Michael Jackson saved me from getting on a plane to that tiny island.
So they're saying Neverland is...
Do you hear that? This is from Macaulay Culkin.
I'll never forget that. Michael Jackson saved me from getting on a plane to that tiny island.
So they're saying Neverland is where Michael Jackson took children to protect them from what was being done on Epstein's island.
If that's not explosive, if that don't tell all or help to paint, a broader picture of what we're dealing with in regards to these Epstein files, I don't know what will. I don't know what can. But that on the face of it is powerful. That's some powerful stuff. Just to hear that.
And because he was going against their regime, they punished him and they flipped the script and made it.
Did y'all hear that? Going against their regime. Okay? Their regime.
It appears as if he was the one abusing them, when in reality they were abusing them, and he was protecting the children, he was protecting the celebrities. And you have celebrities like Macaulay Culkin who've gone on record to protect and defend Michael Jackson. This all makes sense. It has finally come together. This man has been dead for so long, but now it's coming together. Not only
now it's all starting to make sense. That
it's all starting to make sense. And I've said, we have said here on All Things Politics 26 that the Epstein files is just the tip of the iceberg. We trust that there are files inside the Epstein files that have yet to be exposed. We think this is some explosive stuff. Let's hope that people dig deeper into the Epstein files to uncover what's really in there.
That was supposed to be a safe place for them. Again, I still don't think a grown man should have been hanging out with these kids. That's just my take on that. But I think the thing with Michael Jackson is that he didn't have a childhood. He was basically providing for his family ever since he was a kid. Remember, the Jackson 5 formed. He was one of the younger people. I think either Randy or Marlon may have been younger than him, but he was one of the younger ones with the biggest voice, right? And so he's the one that really took off. But the reality is his brothers were older. They had an actual childhood. And then it got to the point where we all know about Joe Jackson and how he was with those kids. I mean, you basically was providing for your family. And then now you live this life of luxury where it's like, this is kind of what you have to do because this is what they got used to. So there's that. Let's go on a little bit more here.
Did he protect the children from the physical things that were being done to them? And you know what I'm saying. You just social media, gotta be careful. But he also were protecting them from the social and emotional abuses that were occurring by advising Britney Spears to get out from under her dad before the conservatorship.
That part about the Britney Spears part, I found that to be interesting. Julie said Randy Jackson and Janet Jackson are the youngest two. Michael was just above them. Yeah, but Janet wasn't a part of the Jackson 5. I think Janet got to have a little bit more of a childhood than they did. I know she was on Good Times, but I think it seems like she got into it a little bit later. But I think that
no, if you really think about it, Janet they did bring her into this production, you know, of the Jackson 5 at an early age. I recall seeing Janet Jackson. She could have been every bit of 5 on stage with the Jackson 5. You know, there were a few times, not just once or twice, a few times I do recall Janet Jackson being exposed, you know, to the performance of the Jacksons, you know, or being put in front of the limelight, you know. Yeah, early on. Good Times was after, you know, she had already done appearances on stage with the Jacksons on talk shows and things of that nature at a young age.
I think that Michael he was pretty young, like at that time. I know some people are saying they think this video is AI, but I had already verified a lot of this as well, that's what Neverland was really supposed to be. Let me continue on here.
And things of that nature. This man was a lifesaver. Nonetheless, those of you who are like me, help me fact check this, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure this is right. But this is what I've been hearing up to this point, and it all makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is. I hope I did that right. Again, here's a situation where in society, we should be mindful of two things in society, especially when we have no control over what these two things are and how they're being presented to us. We grew up with the saying, we were told growing up, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. And I think that this piece, again, we want to thank Savvy Sab for the use of her clip, but we think that this piece will help individuals to inform themselves a little better than what they were, or at the very least aspire or inspire them or motivate them to go and do the research, to go and, you know, ask AI or whoever you need to, or they need to, the questions that might still be just floating around in their heads. All right. Again, thanks for this piece to Savvy Sabs. We want to do another piece on Prince. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Prince was another outspoken entertainer or celebrity who had issues with the industry. And I think Prince was a little more reserved in saying what he said. Prince, I think, directed his energies towards the fight he knew he had with those labels and individuals who ran those labels and or the industry. So maybe we will do a piece on Prince and his tumultuous relationship with the music industry. Okay. This is All Things Politics. We appreciate your viewership and participation with this channel. Take care of yourself and each other.